All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the After Action Report. I'm very happy that you are joining us this evening. I am letting you know that we are recorded this time. We are not going live on Twitch, so you may not see anything in the stream. Sorry about that. It was just one of those scheduling issues that we had to go with. But even as a recorded show, we are still brought to you by Admiral Tater's Ship Shop. If you want the absolute best in Armada accessories, this is the place to go. Odds are, if you've played in any tournaments anywhere, you have seen some of his stuff because one, it's very popular, and two, it is often used as prize support. So, something to check out. Go to Admiral Tater's Ship Shop on Etsy and see what all he has to offer. A lot of great stuff there. As far as what we've got going on tonight, probably going to be a little bit of a longer show because we do have a lot to discuss. When we're talking Imperial officers, there are a lot of Imperial officers to talk about. But we also have a couple other things that we want to discuss. And stay tuned for at the end. I do have a little bit of an announcement that I want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to get involved in. But with that, we will go ahead and introduce the crew here. We've got Reuben back with us. We got Garrett back with us. We got Nick back with us. It's going to be a great show here. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Raring to go.
Yep, excited to be here.
So before we get into talking about Imperial officers, there are a couple of things I want to throw out there first. First off, there is going to be a tournament at Thunderforge Gaming in Tip City, Ohio.
That's correct.
I remember this time. That's going to be on March 8th. If you want to join us, it's going to be 3 rounds. What time is that starting again, Garrett?
Get there at 10 o'clock, and then we start rolling dice at 10:30.
So I plan to be there. I'm hoping to do some streaming from there. We'll see how that works out. But really looking forward to the chance to get some more practice in before heading off to Worlds.
Yeah, it should be good. We'll probably have 16 people again, so
Awesome.
It's a good tournament.
Yeah. On top of that, we did have some games that we played on Thursday, and we will go ahead and I'll let Reuben start off, partly because I do want to mention your opponent had probably the absolute best looking fleet on the table just because he had a lot of custom pieces, and the only reason he didn't make the stream was because I was really worried that people might get confused on what those custom pieces actually were.
Man, I was looking at them and I was like, I've never played against a full 3D print alternate fleet. So everything is just ingrained, like all the ship silhouettes are just ingrained in my brain and I just know what they are. So to have them all be different is really different for me. But like, it didn't trip me up any. So it worked out and they looked really cool.
What's
Zon
the origin of...
Consortium,
Okay.
right?
Yeah, so his fleet's on consortium. It's really cool. He's got like Star Vipers for his squadrons, and then a Mandalorian Keldabi battleship he used for his victory, and then he has I think it's like a mass driver consortium ship he used for the Onager. It shoots a beam inside the game, and then like not a mass driver, but and for his like raider he used a mass driver thing that shoots like projectile weapons in the Star Wars universe. Just is really interesting. So it's really cool stuff. You know what Empire War was.
I'm gonna have
we need
to
put it on stream.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get
Me,
some...
I don't know Empire War, so I had cool spaceship across from me that I had to remember what it was.
I'm gonna have to get him to take some pictures of those so that we can put them up on the Facebook page and in the Discord.
Oh yeah, they're really cool, and they're painted well too. Like they're dry brushed really nicely, good accent colors. They look good. I was playing my same Radish fleet, so MC-75, Profundity, X-Rex, Expanded Launchers, Horde Experts, Ramus ECMs, Gorell's Honor, Shriv, still playing Shriv, giving it another go, TR-90, Radis, ECMs, TRCs, and Engine Techs, Wedge, Dutch, Lando, Tycho, YT, Rogue Squadron. It's basically my favorite squad call. Like, all these guys know, I love flying those 6 squads, especially more YT-2400s. And he deployed appropriately. started the game at a good balance. We played his planetary ion cannon, and he put him in a triangle in the middle of the board. You know what you're supposed to do with them. And then he had the last drop on me because of how Gratis works, and I put my CR90 flagship to his opposite flank and said, "Do you want to go nose to nose with Gratis or not?" And he decided not to, and he put his onager like in the middle of his formation, tilted towards my CR90, which messed up all his fleet's like arrangement. And we talked a bunch after the game because he's one of our newer players. So I gave him like the big info dump about playing Armada and stuff. So I came in real hard and I double clicked and went to speed 2 turn 1 to stay right outside of his planetary ion cannon, and then jumped to speed 5 into his formation. Dropped top of 3, and it's wild that Radis can be over distance, like about distance 5 from a ship, and go, all right, close range double arc, get shot. So I dropped in nose to nose with double arc on the onager with my MC75. Grell's honor came in close, tucked in between the ignition arc and the side shot, so he couldn't take a side on Grell's. That was my intention. I had to jump, power drift my CR90 right outside of his ignition arc as I was coming in. But, if you played against a lot of onagers, you know how to manage the threat that an onager will do. His was blue beam, not red beam, so it doesn't have as much linear range threat to it, but it has more blue dice and it's a little more consistent. I went with Grell's first, hit him with the Shriv, and I shrived off his fire control team so he couldn't double crit me, which was pretty funny. And then I hit him with the front arc shot, and he redirected. I got the accuracy and pulled most of his shields off. And when I hit him with the overlap with Grell's honors, he pulled projectile missile line, so I cleared all the shields off of his front on my first ship's activation. So he shot me with the blue beam, and
sucks for him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it sucked for him. And he shot me with the blue beam with Sunder, and he sundered off my expanded launcher. So I was like, I respect that. I respect the shooting the sundering me like that. So I proceeded to die swarm at him, and then picked up the onager second ship activation turn 3, and just the game was me picking up as many points as I could at that point. I was able to get enough bombing and side shots out of the 75 into the victory to pick it up as well. And the flotilla, from Hell's Heart, I strike at the killed Grell's honor and then rammed my 75 to kill itself. So he was able to pick that one up, and Rogue Squadron got shot by Boss with 4 blacks and did 4 damage to him. And I was like, oh no! But a lot of little technical things, it's very, very challenging to play against Radis, especially when the person you're playing understands really how to fly, because he's not a club admiral that you just go, okay, fly straight at you, drop on you, die. And that's, you can do that in win games, but the minute you're a good player and you go okay, I'm gonna be
Radis is a club.
Here.
Let's not confuse it. It's a club.
Oh,
it's a club that you hit from the side or rear.
He's more finesse than the club. You have to manage the risk, but riding the lightning of only having one ship and having to play exactly perfect to not get blown up is super fun. I haven't played, I played a bunch of tanky farming fleets for a long time. So having one CR90 on the board and everybody's absolutely terrified of it is just hysterically fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it's playing Radis. Yeah, pulling projector missile line at the beginning of the game is the worst. That's the worst crit in the deck to pull at the start of a game.
Yeah, and I've rolled 3 accuracies through 3 attacks, so it just didn't get to brace at all.
That's so crappy.
It's savage.
Yeah.
I mean, projector. I mean, it's 5 damage effectively on the onager.
Yeah, and it's you can't. There's no time to recover either. Usually, because if you're getting shot with a crit, it's game over.
Yeah, onager can really only take a couple.
2 at his side, so he didn't lose 5, but he lost all his redirect, his secondary redirect. So there's just damage right through. I'm not sold on Shriv. He seems pretty good. But I look at him compared to the CR90B thing where you overload pulse them and then you shoot them a whole bunch with the NC75. And a lot of people.
I think he's
I've
so
played-
cheap. There's no reason not to take him because Garrel's honor and the X-Rax are
It's
like what matters.
really
there.
good.
Yeah.
I've played as second player twice, and it's a lot harder to get him to do it when you're second player. And I was able to be. I was first player in this game, and man, it's like really punishing to go. Okay, drop in Grells, take the one shot, shoot you with the 75. Like it kills stuff really.
Yeah.
I also haven't shot at an ISD yet. It's been super, and then onagers, and onagers aren't bad.
No, they're not. They're very fragile.
Yeah, if you get it close to him, they're in trouble.
I will note that once I get it edited and put up on YouTube, that you are going to see two people playing very badly on Thursday Night Armada. I think I started off solid and was able to. He was playing two Providence and a Recusant Patriot's Fist there, and I took care of one of the Providence pretty easy, and because he flew poorly, he ended up getting split up, but the manner that he got split up ended up working out in his advantage, because I didn't know what to focus on and did not speed up my Recusant when I meant to speed up my Recusant. Also forgot to use an engineering token, which would have helped a lot too. So he ended up taking out my Patriot's Fist and eking out the win. I think the blast doors that I added onto the hard cells took him by surprise, because he thought he was going to kill both of my hard cells, but the other one had the chance to pop that and recover 3 holes, so made for
sure. Flying against triple larges is hard. It's flying is hard, and then flying is hard. It's like it's hard for him to get them all on target, and then if you get in range of 2 of them, it's just a dice vomit. So
I wasn't even in range of 2 of them. It was weird the way, because they were really, really spread out. Okay, I took out the middle of his formation. And the reason why they were split up was partly because he collided with himself and didn't get to go anywhere, which made it so much easier to take out that first Providence. And I almost had both his Recusant and his other Providence dead, but I just couldn't get quite enough out of my squads to finish it out. I needed 1 out of 4 squads to connect.
Yeah, vultures aren't going to throw.
Yeah,
good
no, I knew that. I knew that. But what did you have going on, Garrett? I know Nick didn't make it Thursday, so
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so Aaron and I fought, and Aaron and I. Well, when I play, I like to play Speed Armada. So we got 2 games in. Our first game, Aaron has this really cool fleet. He wanted to try 2 larges, a Liberty with Mon Caron, and then a Home 1 MC80 with the Home 1 title. With a couple A-Wings. I brought my trench fleet, where I ditched Beast of Burden off my hard cell. And so if people don't know, I drive a Providence with early warning systems and thermals, and then trench with 10 squadrons, the new Django, Wat Tambor, Vultures, Hyenas, and then Dis, the Sniper Tri-Fighter. Anyways, first game, he flew into my aspect tactics, and I got a great bombing run on the front of his Liberty, stripped the shields, and then was able to finish it off. And then we were like, all right, well, this game's decided. So then we reset and played another one. And this one, he got really close to getting an awesome double shot from the MC80 and his Mon Caron. He actually caused a lot of damage to me with Mon Caron into my Providence. But then I had to activate, trench double dial, squadron, bomb the heck out of his MC80, bomb, tie it, like lock down all his squadrons so they couldn't interfere. And then I had a double arc at close range with my Providence. And that's always dangerous for somebody. And so I destroyed his MC80 in that activation, like from full health to 0, and then flew away. it's hard to fly two larges. It's hard to fly two larges to defeat somebody, and I can just squirrel away, right? So it was good. Aaron did a good job. His Mon Karen shot had me really concerned there because he was able to drill through my front shields. But it's hard to compete with somebody who can double arc fire at you and then also do a full 6 squadron activation, and you can't stop me from bombing the side of your ship. So, but yeah, we had fun. It was good. Loving Trench. I'm getting bored of it though, so I think it's time to do something different.
Already?
Yeah, let's talk about Empire officers. We got like 57 of them.
Oh
to
yeah.
go.
And I
25.
feel like a lot of these
25?
are what I would
25.
consider disposable officers, which are meant to be killed by Vader at some point. But we'll get into that.
26.
Is it 26?
It must be.
What am I
But
missing?
first off, we've got Admiral Cherno.
Yes. So our guy.
Here, I'll read him. Admiral Chernu.
Yeah.
I love this guy, all right? Squad command. Okay, squad command. When you do squad command, token or dial. Squadrons that you activate can move, even if they are engaged. When an engaged squadron moves in this way, treat it as having a printed speed of 2. He's 10 points. Even at 10 points, this officer is in competitive fleets. Being able to move squadrons around is game changing. To get out of the way to bomb or to move to lock up the enemy squadrons. So
Yeah, and it's the timing of it too, because it's not like Cloak is nice, but Cloak is always at the end of the squad phase, so it doesn't matter if your squadron's going to get destroyed. Shiranu lets you get out of the fight before your opponent gets a chance to shoot. I would love to see him come down to like 8 or 9 points. 10 points is a lot, but he's still so good.
he's so good. But it's because you can put him on a quasar, and a quasar can activate like seven squadrons, right?
you
And
get
so you're doing
entire-
it for 7 squadrons. It's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Another thing that I liked. So when I ran Shiranu, I actually had him on a Gazanti with the Vector title, because when you activate a squadron with Shiranu, the squadron gains a speed of 2, and then Vector, as long as you're activating ships or squadrons that don't have the heavy keyword, you give them +1 speed to maximum 5. And so you have an engaged squad ball, you can activate 2, maybe 3 with a token, and you can grab up to 3 squadrons, move them distance 3, and they can either attack. I use it a lot with Mauler Mythal, because then he can't get tied down. You can just have him come in and splash an entire squad ball again, or if he's gotten shot, you can pull him out of the fight, in which case your opponent is like, well, we did all that work to get the scatter off of him, and he's still alive, and now he's just gone.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nasty combination. Mauler Mythal, and then throw in Hondo fire spray in that same squad ball. So
Yeah, so
Chernu,
you just-
Mauler Mythal, Hondo. So you can cause 3 damage to each ship at distance 1 of Mauler in like 1 turn.
Yeah, it's so fun to play if you've never used them. Obviously he wants to go in like a squad heavy fleet. You're not gonna just bring him for like 4 TIE fighters. But if you've never used them, try him out. Run in a squad ball with them. Remember, don't bring things with. I guess you can bring anything. If you use Vector or something like that, don't bring the squadrons they don't work with. He helps a lot with. It's funny because of things like grit. If you have a lot of grit or rogues and you have Shiranu, your squad ball is just so hard to pin down. So you can just have an entire squad ball fight and then fly away and land on the station. And I mean, you're talking about having TIE interceptors with flight controllers. Fly in, shoot. If it survives, it shoots again, then flies back out to hide in the station or in an asteroid field. And it's so infuriating if you are not prepared for a hypermobile Imperial squad ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm for his cost. I'd put him at A tier because it depends on exactly what you're doing.
Yeah,
Right.
I would agree that A tier just because it is for a specific build.
I'm fine with A tier. I would say almost a B tier because he's most useful in that one particular thing, and he's 10 points. which is already hard to fit into a squad heavy list. But A is also fine. If you compare him to like Adar Talon, who's also 10 points, and Adar lets you get a whole second activation on like somebody like Lando or
Well, I think Chernu is like Adar good because
yeah,
Chernu creates a whole fleet archetype by himself.
right, sure.
Right, that no another faction can even pretend to play as. So
Good point.
I think
It's very
I
fair.
think yeah.
All right. Next up, we've got Admiral Montferrat.
Fair.
Yeah, Montefret, while defending against a ship, if your speed is 3 or higher, the attack is treated as obstructed. After you execute a maneuver, if you overlap a ship, discard this card. Card's amazing. This card is Kraken for a mini
For a
ship.
single ship. Yep.
Yeah, you throw this thing on a raider. It's really annoying to shoot at.
Mm-hmm.
Good, like it's like super good anti-Akbar tech, right? Out the side of CR90s at long range, they just can't attack you.
Yeah, I like this on the ISD2 with the 134 archetype with like Thrawn or something. So you've got like you could do the Nita version, this version where you're like going power handbraking speed 3, flying around really fast, and then commanding a bunch of squadrons. Like it just seems really fun to play, and you can choke them out. So that means everybody on the tier list goes up one when they're chokeable.
Yeah.
Is Wayne Brady going to have to... I'm sorry.
I would probably put him at A tier again. Like he's commonly seen. Like he's a really common officer.
Yeah. I originally was thinking B for Montferrat because he's limited to like only the ships can go speed 3, which is most of them. But not
victory.
Not your victory, not your super, but that's it.
Oh no.
Oh, and your interdictors, I guess, but they don't need help. No, he's really good. It's funny that you can lose him the way you you hit something and he flies out the window. Another thing to think about is
he doesn't
the interactions.
believe in seatbelts.
Yeah, the interactions with things like Ramadi is really interesting because if you're not familiar with playing against Ramadi, which is not going to be as common as it used to be, if you're playing like into Rebel Kraken, right, your attack's obstructed, and so Ramadi would not trigger in his bonus die unless you are also obstructed by a obstacle or a ship, right? So Montferrat has the same interaction where your attack is obstructed, but as soon as something flies in between you, Ramadi can make an obstructed attack and ignore the remove a die and then get to add a die. So I think that Ramadi is not as popular is also a good thing against Montferrat.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, love it.
I don't know. I don't feel like you see him as much as you see. He's still kind of lower on the list to me.
I see him a lot.
Yeah.
I see him a lot of competitive lists. He's just damage mitigation, right?
Yeah, which is always good. And there's gonna be a pretty consistent theme, I think, with our tier list is that anything removing dice or fixing dice is always top tier.
All right, so next up we've got Admiral Ozzel. This is a disposable.
Yeah, I'll read it. At the start of the first round, you may execute a speed 1 maneuver. He's 2 points.
2 points.
Again, like Reuben likes, chokeable. But also, like, this has really cool implications for Angers, Super Star Destroyers, and I don't know, it's just, you can do interesting speed control things to really mess with how your enemy can time how an engagement is going to play out.
Yes. I love running him in on my Quat Star Destroyer because it just gives you that extra round of like I'm just a little bit closer. I'm already in the fight. Especially when like you have like an ISD that can jump speed 3. You're talking about like on turn 2 getting a close range shot.
Mm-hmm. And then have something like the interdictor with the grab whale and that kind of stuff, and suddenly your nose is that much more forward, and their deployment is all messed up because they had to stay out of the speed 0 bubble. And then and you also like in that critical turn, he's already got you an advantage deployment, and in that critical turn, he goes, "Oh, I'm also reroll all the blanks in my pool. Haha, sorry."
Yep.
Yeah, targeting scramblers.
Oh,
yeah, I don't know. B tier probably. Like he's good. It's like B tier.
Yep.
At least I would almost say A because he's so cheap.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those like he gets the +1 tier from the Vader choke. It's just that they designed several of these officers to just be you get a benefit at the beginning of the game, and then this guy's here to just get choked and reroll dice. And that's the design synergy is mentioned. It's worth mentioning.
Yes. So up next we've got Admiral Titus.
Admiral
Another
Titus.
one.
At the start of the first round, he may change one enemy ship's speed by 1. He is 2 points.
Same deals as Ozzel.
Yeah, awesome. He's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, he's really fun. It's kind of the reverse of the Ozzel situation where you can screw with your opponent's deployment rather than get your own advantage. When your opponent sees Titus on just like Interdictor or Gazanti or something, they know, okay, if I deploy anything at speed 1, it's going to get slowed down to 0 basically, which sometimes that can be a non-issue, sometimes it can be a big issue. Same with like, oh, do I deploy my ship at maximum speed knowing that like I'm thinking, oh, he's going to slow me down, I'm going to deploy my CR90 at speed 4. Well, then as the Imperial player, I'm going to pick a different ship, and now you've got your CR90 going speed 4 on turn 1, where the rest of your ships are going to be stuck in your deployment zone. He just gives you, your opponent has that mental gymnastics at the beginning of the game to have to think about with deployment.
What's
if
the
you ever deal with this? Like it's Rift Ambush
That's
that
what I'm
they
looking for,
change
yeah.
the speed of your ship and move you 1. Here's my tip for anybody that's doing that stuff. Like, if you're playing against that or you have Titus as your opponent, just turn your brain off. And like, the actual math of it is that you don't get a nav token. That's all it does.
Don't turn it all the way off. Don't turn it. Make sure you don't ram yourself.
Don't ram yourself, but like, deploy at speed 2. Do what you're going to do. Let them go, oh yeah, you're speed 1 now, whoa. And instead of nav dialing to take the token, or you just do it, take the dial, go back up to speed 2, get your additional click anyways, and just do what you were going to do, and you're down a token. Now,
yeah,
Titus is 2 points. Most of the other officers that generate tokens are also 2 points, so like it's neutral. It's just more of a don't get yourself all like bent out of shape trying to overthink this effect when it's really easy.
Largely, it's largely inconsequential if your opponent if you don't have a plan for it. I ran Titus with my shenanigans fleet because the entire fleet had multiple tricks to mess with speed. If Titus is like your only source of speed shenanigans, then he's not going to do anything because your opponent's just going to say like, I'm just going to nav on turn 1 anyway and go the speed that I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think he's a B tier. I don't think he's as good as Ozzel. But then the 2 points for a free choke means that he's easy to fit into a fleet, and he gives you a secondary benefit.
Yeah, I would concur with B rather than A in that you have a lot more control over the benefit that you get out of Ozzel than you do over with Titus.
Exactly.
To be perfectly honest. All right, next up. Go ahead.
I'd probably go C personally. Like, if Chirpy is B, Titus is not B.
Yeah, I could go C.
But yeah, it'd be fine either way. I like him because I like to run. He fits well with a synergy list, but you have to kind of like Cyrano, you have to kind of be bringing all the tools for it to work.
Up next, we've got Agent Callus.
While attacking a unique squadron, add 1 die of any color to your attack pool. 3 points. He lives on the Superstar Destroyer.
Mm-hmm. I could see an argument if you're running like a Quasar 2 with your red flag die, and you have like Ruthless Strategist or something like that, and you just want to get in there. But yeah, definitely on the SSD. He loves it on the SSD. For 3 points, even if your opponent has like no squadrons, he's a chokeable target. You're not losing much on that. And if you have like red flag, like the Super or a Quasar 2, that is so much extra dice throughout the entire game. And an additional mention with the Super, you take like quad laser turrets that give you counter 1 against squadrons. All of a sudden, all those unique bombers are getting an extra die on that counterattack. So it's really punishing when you see them on like a big platform like that.
Yeah, you could build the ultimate flak boat on the Imperial Venator 2 with Agent Callus, Ordnance Pods, Link Turbolaser Towers, Agent Callus, Quad Laser Turrets. Yeah,
You have
But what
X-Rax in
else
there
are you
somewhere?
beating?
you could, yeah.
Yeah, I found him like I played against Callus Super. Let's see here, 2 or 3 weeks ago. It basically turns the time to kill for your flak to squadrons down by a turn. So instead of being able to bomb like 4 turns, it was like 3 turns, and like that could definitely change the game. Thankfully, I was playing Radis, not a bomber fleet, because a bomber fleet would probably get torn up pretty bad, especially generic bombers. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm putting him in the tier. When do I get the rebel version? So
Yeah, they gave you got a Draven does something similar.
that's not Callus though. Come on, it's
Intel
rebels.
and counter, whatever it was.
Oh, Intel Encounter. Yeah. Oh, you mean you went the
Yeah,
Agent Callus post
yeah.
effect?
I want my rebel Callus.
Yeah, I'd put him in solid B tier for what he does. Like, you can put him in anything and he'll do something.
Yeah, he's. I'm almost willing to put him in A tier. I would say actually walk it back to B because he's less useful on most ships you'd be flying. Like you're not really going to put him on like an ISD two. You absolutely could, but like there's so many better officers for like a lot of that. So I would say that would drop him to B tier for me.
Okay. Well, up next we've got Captain Brunson.
Oh yeah.
What a history. Captain Brunson, while defending at distance 1 to 2 of an obstacle at distance, during the spin defense token step, you may exhaust this card to choose and cancel 1 whole attack die. She's 9 points, and she is a card that readies in the status phase, so you don't have to pay to ready her. Back in the day, I think she was like 5 points, and I think worked every time. If I remember, maybe she's always been exhaust. I have to remember.
She was always. I think she was always exhaust.
Maybe, yeah. But she was 5 points, which was nuts.
Yeah.
She's 9 points now, which is a lot.
She's still good.
Still good. Still seen like all the time. You combine Brunson with like things like expert shields text and early warning systems, and there's a lot of damage mitigation there.
Yeah. I think she would be my first S tier, even at 9 points. Because removing a die screws with so much. We see a lot of upgrades that do dice fixing, and a lot of fleets that they're. The way the game is, it's a game with dice. So the most efficient way to improve your odds are to fix your own dice. So we see so many like redundant rerolling mechanics, fixing dice when on attacks. Being able to say like, okay, your opponent spent all these upgrades and all this time to flip that red to a double, and then you just say and cancel that. It's so funny. You can put her on an interdictor with the title, so you can use her twice in a turn. Yeah, and distance 1 and 2 of an obstacle is not a hard sell. Like it's so easy to keep something near you for her to trigger. So she's always good. She can go on basically any ship.
I love it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
S tier.
I'm so productive on this discussion here. I'm just like, well, yeah.
You can jump in anytime. What's next? We moving on?
Yeah, we can move on here. Next up is Captain Nita.
Captain Nita. At the start of the first round, you may replace one of your defense tokens with an evade token. Evade defense token, sorry. He's 2 points.
I feel like this is
S-tier.
really good.
S tier.
S tier.
Captain Nita has been like he's an officer that goes on again every ship, and he's been useful since he came out.
He's chokeable.
They made evade tokens better, and he's perfectly chokeable. Yep.
Yeah. He can go on the Superstar Destroyer. He can go on a Raider. He can go anywhere. Gladiator, ISDs.
You can put him on an ISD with turbo laser reroute circuits, and drop a contain for an evade token, and then flip it to a double.
TRC,
I mean,
SW7's Nita.
Yeah.
That ISD2 is going to shoot.
Yeah,
He's
very good.
Blast him.
Jerk.
Yeah, and he's 2
you
points.
have to reroll everything.
He's
So
2
good.
points, and you choke him with a reroll. He's S tier of all the disposables. He's the best one. You see him everywhere.
All right,
So-
next up we've got Commandant Oresco.
So this guy is another exhaust and readies in the status phase. When another friendly ship at distance 1 to 3 reveals a command, you may exhaust this card to gain 1 command token of the same type. He's 7 points. He's okay. He's completely replaced by like 4 other officers that do the similar effect.
Of all of the command token officers the Empire has, he is the worst one. Yeah, because when you compare him to Wolf Yularen or Commander Vanto, he's just a harder. He's like, why would you use him for the same points as Commander Vanto when Vanto just gives you whatever you want every turn when you want it? Oresco, you have to be with distance 1 to 3 of another ship that is
Doing something that
doing
you
the
want.
command that you need. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I would give him like a D tier, just because if he was like 5 points or like cheaper than the other officers, that'd be fine. He's the same cost as the guys who do his job better.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't use him.
So you're saying he was a political appointment?
Yeah, it's like a lot of mental hoops you got to jump through, because you got to match the command of another ship to make a command token useful to you on your ship.
Yeah,
and then there's
like,
only one officer slot, so.
Yeah, and it's like the opposite. He's the opposite of how Leia works for Rebels, where you can put her on a Command 1 ship, and then you dial up whatever you want to send to the big ship, and then I think Leia works distance 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this guy is a backwards, weaker, more expensive Leia F. Get down there.
Yeah, I've never used him, and the only reason I could think to use him would be if you had something like I could come up with something where you're already using Wolf and Vanto and Hondo, and you need more token generation, and you need it more consistent than using just a one-time veteran captain, and you have like Sovereign, so you can change your tokens around. Like there's just
That's a lot of
I don't know.
ifs.
Yeah, there's a lot of ifs.
A very deep hole is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like what ship will you put him on?
Let
put
us
him on a big.
let us just move along.
Yeah.
Up next, we've got Commander Beck.
Oh boy. Okay. Commander Beck. During your activation, you may resolve a command as if you had spent a command token. If you do, gain 1 raid token of the matching type. You may resolve this effect twice per activation. She's 3 points.
3 points.
This is a challenging card to use, but she is very good when people know what they're doing. My favorite example is Royce up in Wisconsin. He has a really cool Piet list with Commander Beck, to where she generates, command tokens and then gets a raid token, but he gets to resolve the command of Piet with it. And you can do it twice. You can get two tokens for that.
Is that confirmed that the interaction is how that works with Piet and Beck?
During your activation, you may resolve a command as if you had spent a command token. So you can just say, like, hey, I need to activate a squadron. You grab a squadron token, resolve the command, get a squad raid token. And then you can do it for nav and repair and confire. And then just have a way to clear the raid tokens.
Okay,
she's super good.
Because she doesn't count as, like, you don't gain a command token. And you technically are not spending one. I don't know if there's any specific interactions that matters for, because it's as if you spent a command token.
Right. So you can add it to your command. Like, you could show a confire command and get a munitions token or whatever with it, right? And then after you do it, you get the raid token. So, and you can do twice. So you can reveal a nav command, and then repair and confire, grab the raid tokens, and then clear them the next time.
Okay, this gets my rules lawyer brain kicking, and I have to ask a technical question because I'm not as well versed in the rules as you guys are. I know you can not have more than 1 token of a given type, But can you be given more than one command of a type?
No, you can't resolve multiple commands. So,
Okay.
like, you can't do squad or confire. Does that make sense? But
It
you're
does.
also not. You're not. Here's
I
what's
needed to
important.
know the
You
technical.
are not gaining a token.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why the question is significant. Since you're not gaining a token,
But
is
the
there
rules say
something
you
in the
can't-
rules say that there?
It's really clear. You cannot do 2 commands during a ship's activation of the
Okay.
same type.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, nothing that lets you do a token effect lets you do 2 tokens, basically.
Right.
That's interesting, though, with the Piet interaction.
Yeah, because Piet, you spend a token as a command, right? You exhaust Piet.
Right.
Blah blah.
So can you spend, if you have like a squad token and you Beck, can you turn what your token into a dial and then get your token benefit as well?
No,
Okay.
because that's 2 tokens.
So,
Yeah,
but Piet
they
is
ruled
not
that
turning
weirdly.
is Piet turning the token into a dial, or is it?
But if you spend that squad token that's on your ship, right? You've already resolved that command.
But you can do a dial effect and a token effect because my understanding is based on how they ruled Old Draven, where when Old Draven turned a dial into a token effect, you could also token as
Yeah, but
well. because
it doesn't
it's still a
matter.
Dial effect.
Piet you can't dial token with Piet.
Right, and either way, you spend the squadron token. You can't spend another squadron token.
Well, let me
Right,
throw
okay.
let me throw a
It's the
hypothetical.
timing.
Let me throw
It's
a
timing.
hypothetical at you here. Then, okay, so you use this to give a squad command, as if you had spent a command token. If you had a squad token, could you activate an additional squad, which is not another command?
Now,
Okay.
you could, if you have a squadron dial,
Okay.
right? You can get a squad token with Beck, a pretend squad token, and then do squad plus dial.
Okay. That just the wording
It's not
where
easy.
you're
I'm
not
gonna blame you.
where you're not getting an actual token. That leaves the door open for some interesting interpretations, especially for people who are not as well versed in the rules as you might be. That's why I'm asking these questions. These are questions that other people will probably have too. So,
Like on
Oh, yeah.
a 1 command ship, right? Typically, you could only max do 2 things, right? The dial and whatever token you have. But with Beck on a 1 command ship, you can do 2 token things with Beck and then your command dial.
Yeah.
So 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why she's seen more on the smaller ships, because like your ISD or like a large platform that can stack up tokens and is typically can't deal with the raid as effectively. She's harder to get, but she can still work on like a Quasar or Victory, I think, really well. As long as you have a plan for that ship needs to be doing multiple things every turn.
yeah.
A lot of times you see her on small ships because she can do 2 token effects and then just use her dial to just clear raid tokens every turn, and then do 2 token effects.
Right. And,
So she's
and her timing's great because it's during your activation.
right.
So you can get your tokens and then have Gazantes send you like a squad token so that the next time your ship activates, you clear the squad raid with that token and then back again.
All right. So what's next? Where do we rate her?
I think she's a solid C tier. Well, no, listen, because
C tier? What?
okay, because hear me out on this. She is very good on those small ships where you do want to be doing those commands, but you have to have a plan for her. And she's not just a staple, like you can put her on any ship and she does well.
You gotta, yeah. I mean, anything needs a plan. But like, she's great. I see her best on large ships, actually. When I play against people who have Beck, it's large ships, and because they're doing all sorts of shenanigans with all those commands, and then have ways to generate ways to get rid of the raid.
You just stack your tokens for all the raid. Yeah, I mean it's either way.
I'm gonna put her at least in B tier. I would like to put her in A.
I'd be fine with B tier.
I'll hit middle B tier.
I just think with the other A tier officers are like they do a thing for you and they get choked out, or like Callus is useful all the time. I just think Beck is not as I don't know. She is useful all the time because
I've been turned into a Beck believer.
okay.
Now we're gonna force Nick to fly something with Beck.
I'm gonna have to start playing with Beck, I guess.
Do Beck and Piet. The Beck and Piet lists are crazy good.
I'll try it.
You could double
and it
die.
could be that could also be part of it. I don't really like Piet that much as an admiral, so that could just be maybe I just need to fly it a little bit and see if I can get my mind changed on it.
All right, next up we've got Commander Garant.
While you are defending, the attacker cannot resolve critical effects. After you perform an attack against a ship, discard this card. He's 2 points. I have never actually seen this card in somebody's fleet. So somebody can correct me on YouTube or whatever. Maybe somebody will send me a Discord message telling me how they actually did this. I don't know.
I think I've only seen them on Quasar.
Maybe? Yeah.
I mean, I would say that the only place that you would use him would be a ship that does not have contain. Maybe.
Yeah, because
effect.
He's 2 points. What makes him hard is because like the other 2-point officers like Ozil and stuff where they do like a small bend. Like Garrett's ability is like while defending they can't resolve criticals. Once you attack they can, right? You discard him, get rid of him.
Oh yeah.
So
no,
like
there's
no
put him... situation I think that I like this card.
Yeah. So like you can't even shoot like your first shot you could choke him with Vader if you make your attack and then immediately choke him on that first roll, but like maybe you wanted to save him. The other ones like they're useless after like his whole thing would be they could fix this card if they just made it like you exhaust him after you make an attack and you don't refresh him in a status phase, right? They just make it where it's like you can't refresh this card once it's been exhausted. Then you attack, exhaust him, and he's there to choke for Vader. That could be a way to make him better. As he is, I don't know a ship that really wants like if you are that afraid of critical effects, like something like a super. That's why I run DCO because I'm gonna have DCO. Yeah,
Garrett thinks so little of him that he's left the conversation.
Garrett just because
F-tier.
DCO is he's absolutely F tier. He's only useful for choking, and there are other 2-point officers that are better for choking.
All right.
That actually do something.
So we just say F.
Yeah.
Next. Yep. Somebody good.
Commander Vanto.
Vanto. S tier, baby. After you resolve the first command, during your activation, you may exhaust this card to gain 1 command token of any type. He exhausts, and he's 7 points. S tier, amazing.
Yep.
Amazing.
Very good.
Super good on the Superstar Destroyer.
That's why, I loved him.
Super good on anything that you need to generate command tokens for.
Yep. Every turn.
Yeah, man, he's fantastic.
He's
it's
awesome.
Any token-heavy fleet in the Empire that needs tokens to do extra stuff on your ship, take Vanto.
Yep. Yeah, the timing of it can get weird because it has to be your first, your first command. So, like, the very first turn of the game, if you don't squadron or engineer and say you don't have any shots, so your first command is navigating, you have to wait until you're done navigating and then you get your token. So you wouldn't be able to get a nav token first to then jump your speed up or whatever if, say, you didn't plan on naving or something like that. That's really, really easy to work around. That's not a small hoop to jump through.
Yeah.
But the timing of it is important to remember when it's not just like, oh, on my turn I can get a token whenever I want to. It's I'm engineering and then I'm getting what token do I need right now. So it's hard if you want to rely on like feeling confire with him, because if you're doing like you'd have to have a confire token first. If shooting is your first activation or first command, then you can spend your your confire token and then give it back
For intensified firepower.
So he's a little trickier than like Wolf is. Like that's what he and Wolf are very similar. I think he's better than Wolf because he's more versatile. And I loved him on my super. So, yeah, S tier.
All right. Well, up next we've got Commander Woldar.
Oh, look, Torn Far. While a friendly, non-swarm squadron at distance 1 to 3 is attacking a squadron, it may reroll 1 die of any color. He's 4 points. Commander Woldar is an interesting card. He sounds great, like Torn Far. Of course, he only works on squadrons without swarm, so it takes out like
Just
TIE fighters.
all your TIE fighters, yeah. Like,
and
he only works against attacking squadrons.
Yeah. He's okay. He's okay if you build like a really specific squad ball. He's not amazing.
No.
I don't think you want to play the squad ball that he likes, though.
You can build them. Right. It's just you just got
you could do fire. You could do fire sprays. You could do
rogue balls.
Yeah, rogue balls would be fine with that. And rerolling 1 die of any color is nice instead of just blue.
Yeah, you slap him on a Gazanti.
Yeah. He seems pretty good. It's just I think the officer points in Imperial's like 134 compositions are really tight. So there's like a lot of these, B-ish seems pretty good kind of things go to the cutting room floor pretty fast because there's a few that are very good and you're bringing them.
I feel like we should just skip this next one because nobody wants to play him ever. I mean, who wants to play Darth Vader?
Oh, I was like here for Woldar.
Woldar. D tier.
I think he's just. I was gonna say C.
Yeah, you can go there.
Yeah, because he's not terrible. Like if you have an empty officer slot and you want to try him, you can. But like his biggest problem is like he's just not as good as other officers for his points, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So let's get to everybody's favorite.
Now I will note that the image on the screen does not have the new point cost for Vader.
Yeah, he's 4 points. Darth Vader, officer. While a friendly ship at distance 125 is attacking a ship, it may discard one of its admiral or officer cards, other than Darth Vader, to reroll any number of dice in its attack pool. Absolutely criminal at 1 point. At 4 points, it's still goated. S tier, top of the pile.
Yeah.
Slap your fleet full of skilled first officers, Captain Nita, anything that's
Admiral
worthless.
Ozzel, yep.
Titus, Ozzel, amazing card.
You put Vader on a Gazanti that just sits in the middle of your fleet and
reroll any number of dice in its attack. Any number.
So good. I doesn't even have to say anything. He's good. S tier. Move on.
All right, Director Isard. Or Isard.
And on the other side of the pool.
Oh, F tier. Director Izard. When you reveal a command, you may look at all command dials assigned to one enemy ship. Izard
come on, knowledge is power.
3 points. Yeah.
3 points.
So you should just know what your opponent's probably dialing. It's pretty easy. Yeah. My little Armada history, and this goes for X-Wing too. When FFG devs were like originally designing both these games, like the games are basically just the Star Wars X-Wing books. A lot of them, like wave 1 to 3, is just inspired by the X-Wing novels, and of course Izard is like the main antagonist for like 3 of them. So it would be cool if she was a lot better, but she's just not.
I feel like they set her up and they wanted to come up with future upgrades that would benefit, and then they never did anything with like looking at command dials. If you play competitively and you are always looking at your opponent going like, what's the worst command they could be doing right now for every ship, then you already have a plan instinctually. Okay, if they engineer or they squadron right now, then I'm doing this or that. Knowing what a ship is doing just doesn't help you when you can make us like if you play strategy games, you kind of know this. Like you make the decisions like what is your opponent doing in their best interest at all times. And once you get to the point where you're playing Armada at that level, she's not worth an officer slot.
The answer is they're navving.
They're navving, or they're pushing squads, which you can assume, or they're engineering,
or they're doing all 3. Amazing.
Or yeah, or, yeah, well,
Dialers.
that's the other thing too. Is like now there's so many options out there for. I don't even have my dials just for clearing raid. Just, just for clearing raid.
F tier. Next.
Yeah.
Next.
All right, next up we've got Director Krennic.
Bonfire command. While attacking at medium to long range, if you spent a Confire dial, you may reroll. You may also reroll any number of red dice in your attack pool. If you spent a Confire token, you may also reroll up to 2 red dice in your attack pool. He's 8 points. He can only go on the Psy Moon, essentially, or a Super Star Destroyer. He's 8 points. I think he came in Super Star Destroyer expansion.
You can put him on a.
He's an Architens guy, right?
Architens. You can put him on Architens.
Supercharged Architens. Yeah, it's like enhanced armament. Like you need to get
enhanced
all the red dice in there.
Yeah, as many attacks as you can. He's fun with Thrawn when you do like Architens. That's why I used to run Thrawn, Psy Moon with Architens, Slaved, Krennic. And so I'd be like, I'm stacking 3 Thrawn Confire dials and going crazy on people.
And
so
I want to run him on a Gozer.
Yeah. You can with an assault. You can re-roll your 1 red.
Aaron with Ramadi. Krennic, I'm gonna put him in a solid B tier. B tier.
If he was 6 points, he'd be A tier for me.
Probably, yeah. He's 8 points.
I think there's too many like ways to access dice fixing that 8 points is a lot.
Yeah, I'd actually put him down at C. I mean, partly because of the range restriction as well. You know, you can't just do the reroll wherever you're at.
Sure,
yeah, I guess
I think it's less of an issue, I think. Well, because I'm thinking on an Architens.
On an Architens, yeah. I mean, you're not going to get that close anyway. But
yeah, he's just less useful on. Go ahead, Garrett.
I was gonna say you shouldn't get your Psy Moon that close either, because it has no defensive retrofit.
Yeah, I think it's like a typical good Imperial Admiral. It's not like overly undercosted and chokeable. So.
Next up, we have the Emperor Palpatine.
Reuben's metric, chokeable. Emperor Palpatine, when an enemy ship or unique squadron declares you as the target of an attack, it must spend one of its defense tokens, if able. He's 3 points.
This card is painful. I mean,
this card is amazing.
Painful.
He's 3 points. It messes you up all the time. Works against aces and ships. This sucks for the Clone Wars, because if you want to salvo, you have to spend a token to also salvo back if somebody has Palpatine. That's what gets a lot of people. So, yeah.
Yeah, I started running him on the Super when they came out with Anakin Commander.
Yeah.
So, no, I think he's A tier. The only thing I have working against him is he's not a defensive officer. He's an offensive officer. He does not protect your ship at all. I've had people will just say, "I don't care. I'm attacking you anyway," and flipping my token. So, all right. But yeah, I'd say low A tier. Okay, moving on.
All right, we've got Governor Price.
Next, Governor Price. All right, everybody, this is the new text. Once per activation, while attacking a ship, you may spend 1 shield dial from the attacking hull zone to change 1 die to any face without an accuracy icon. She's now 6 points. I think she's in a really good spot now. If anybody doesn't know, she's able to make dice into accuracies, and 7 points. And this was a really nasty combo with stuff like sensor teams or H9s. You could generate all the accuracies on the planet you needed. She's still good. I'm going to put her in A tier now. She went from S tier to A tier. And that's all I have.
I think that's fair.
Personally,
I would say she's S because anything that lets you fix dice is good.
When you get random out of it, yeah.
Like Imperial ships have enough shields. Onagers don't care. They're gonna blow up and trade up or trade even every time. ISDs have enough shields, and they're going to set one of those reds to a double. Like we said, Nita was S because he has an evade TRC, or he's super defensive. Price is also S because even though she's not defensive, she can fix any of your dice to like that flat hit crit that you needed, APT, right to a double. Super useful.
Yeah. And she's once per activation, which means you can trigger her on salvos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So next up we have Iden Versio.
We skipping one?
I was wrong. Oh, we gotta point this out. Nick told me there was 25, and I was like, "Hey, man, there's 26." But I kept counting Hondo, who is not exclusive to the Empire.
Yeah,
so there's only 25.
Hondo we will talk about when we talk about the generics.
Iden Versio. When you resolve the evade defense token, you can cancel one die at close range or distance 1, and then she has a second ability that nobody uses. Squad command, you may discard this card to choose one enemy ship at close range. That ship gains one raid token of your choice. You can do that when your ship's about to blow up.
Yeah.
She's 6 points. Her ability of canceling die at close range is all that matters.
Yep.
You put this on a gladiator or raider, which is where it belongs, and it's S tier on those ships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say overall she's an A tier because she's really only on those ships. But she is S tier on those ships. Absolutely. She's like the first officer I look at for my gladiators.
All right. Well, up next, Instructor Gorin.
What even is this card? Instructor Gorin, while a friendly, non-heavy squadron at distance 1 to 2, it has counter 1, or increases its counter by 1. 7 points.
7 points.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's okay if you can somehow get some ship in there at distance 1 to 2 of your squad ball and not die. Yeah.
This is more expensive than TI-99.
by a lot. Yeah. I doesn't activate you like TI-99, but
yeah, if they dropped him to like 4 points,
Maybe.
I could argue him for like as like your fourth officer on a super, where it's in the middle of your entire squad ball, and your squad ball is there to keep your super alive. So you give them some teeth, so they're just blowing up and killing something in return. And
at 7 points, he's not even good choke bait.
Right, exactly.
No.
That drops him 7 points for D tier. If he was like 4 or 5 points, even at 5, I'd be hard to say C tier, but
Reuben's phrase, I wouldn't choke him.
No, not chokeable. Moving on.
Next, we've got Lyra Wessex.
Sorry, that's me. Lyra Wessex. When you are dealt a face-up damage card, you may spend 1 repair token to flip that card face down without resolving its effect. She's 2 points. Another out of Legends weird inclusion, because she came in the Super Star Destroyer, which comes back to another historical point of Armada. The Super Star Destroyer was supposed to come out like 4 years before it came out. It just got delayed a really long time. Yeah. It's a card.
a card.
It's a card in the game.
Yeah.
It's printed.
So medical teams is 1 point and only does 1 time, only accrue crit.
Right.
Lyra is on the officer slot, spends an engineering token, but can affect any crit, and it doesn't resolve.
Yeah,
Yep.
It sounds good.
This seems fine, honestly. Like, this definitely seems playable to me.
Yeah, it's I think the problem is the token spending that you need. I think she could go obviously on a Superstar Destroyer, where you get free tokens.
Yep. And you can put like Executor where you can hold your tokens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But damage control officer is better than this card in every way on a Superstar Destroyer.
Exactly. Yeah. There's the thing with like who's our other one? Oh, like Oresco, yeah. I don't see a reason to have Lyra anywhere.
Yeah. She's just outclassed.
On that note, guys, I'm gonna have to leave you guys with the rest.
Oh no!
But,
we gotta push through these. There's not
Yeah,
very
yeah,
many
yeah.
ones left.
All right.
But I would say, yeah, Lyra goes bottom tier for me.
Yeah.
If we can figure out how to use her, then maybe. But
I'll put her in D tier, 1 above F.
We've been using D a lot more today than we have any other set. The Vader effect.
Yeah. All right. Next.
I'll see you guys.
Take
Bye,
care.
Nick.
Take care.
All right. Riva.
Next up is Minister Tua.
Oh, is that what you're doing, Minister Tua? I can do
Mhm.
that. Where is my Minister Tua? Oh, that's weird. Whatever. Minister Tua. She adds a defensive slot to your ship's upgrade bar. I can't remember how many points she has off the top of my head.
2 points.
I don't know why she's not on my
7.
thing. How many?
2.
I think she's
2 points.
Unless she's gone up.
2.
Yeah.
Hold on here. Right, I got it. My fleet builder doesn't have it. It's really weird. Oh, standby.
Yeah.
Minister Tua. What the heck? I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone. There she is. Yeah, 2 points. You took 2 points. The important part is you cannot equip this card to a medium or large ship that already has a defensive slot in its upgrade bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
But-
So you could put double defensive on some small ship, which is
Mhm.
kind of interesting. Like at Architans. Yeah, she's basically put on victories a lot to make them
Victories.
survivable.
Onagers, Simons.
Yeah,
I think she's S. She's also 2 points in chokeable. Her defensive retrofit doesn't go away. She gives you ECM.
she's used
She's
all the
very
time.
good. I think the biggest thing is that you need to make sure you're putting her on a ship that actually wants a defensive retrofit, and not just like, oh, I need to keep this. I need to keep this ship alive. Put Tua on it, and then spend the extra points for a defensive retrofit.
So you're saying you wouldn't put her on a gladiator?
You could, so I like to build what they call the Jerk Zanti, which is a Gazanti with Tua with ECMs, like unkillable.
And slicers.
Yeah, slicer tools, Jerk Zanti with Tua. Yeah,
If
S
it
tier. I
does
agree.
die, it's like 40 points though.
All right. Now we've got Riva.
All right, Riva. Riva Debesny. After you are declared as the target of an attack, if the defending hull zone has at least 1 shield remaining, you may exhaust this card and ready 1 defense tokens. 4 points. Ready's in the status phase with no token. My brain likes this card a lot. Every time I read it, I want to put it in my fleet, and then when I fly it, I could never make it work.
I feel like
It
there
never-
are a lot of cards like that,
Never
that sound good, and then in practice you just can't get the timing to work quite right.
Yeah. This card would be amazing for Republic or Clone or CIS with thermal shields.
Yeah.
But there's no way to combine this with expert shield tech because that's also an officer. She's C tier, completely average.
Yeah. Empire really doesn't have access to a lot of double officer slot stuff where they can really layer the shenanigans up on each other.
Well, up next, we've got Taskmaster Grint.
Yes. All right. Finally, something okay. So he starts with any command token of your choice on his card. Choose the command token for this card after deploying fleets. When you reveal a command matching the command on this card, you may gain 1 matching command token without spending the command dial. It's just a way to get an extra token. He's 5 points. He's not that great. His ability is okay because he gets you a token.
He's good.
Yeah,
He goes on the Quasar.
a ship that goes on a Quasar, but then you lose all the other officers that go on the Quasar.
Okay. He's the only
it's
one. You
he's 5
always
points.
dial token.
It's 5 points, so it lets you continuously get the squad token, or on a projection expert's interdictor to continually get repair tokens. Yeah. So I would give him a solid
B.
He sounds B.
I can't give him A. I can't give him A.
Yeah. He's solid in the German Sloan list.
Yep.
And this interdictor projection experts thing sounds interesting.
Up next, we've got the Grand Inquisitor.
Oh man, another tragic card. When the enemy ship at distance 1 to 5 changes its speed, you may exhaust this card to increase or decrease your speed by 1. He's 4 points. Readies and exhausts. This card sounds really cool until you get to the word your.
Just don't play this card.
Yeah. It's
friends
yeah.
don't let friends play the Grand Inquisitor.
I can't see a really good way to use this. I don't know. I'm at a loss of how to like really take advantage of this card.
I mean, the only possible thing I can barely think of is you put him on like a raider. So when they get close to you, you shoot them and you also nap and you go from like speed 2 to speed 4 and get out of dead zone. That's it.
If they change their speed.
If they change their speed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
just don't play this card.
F tier.
Play something else.
F tier.
All right. Well,
let's save the point.
Let us finish this up with Wolf Yularen.
Oh man, the OG, the original core set card. When you spend a command token, you may exhaust this card to gain 1 command token of the same type. It's amazing that this was like the workhorse card for years of command token generation for Empire. He's outclassed by like Taskmaster Grint, Commander Vanto, even I can't remember the other thing I'm thinking of. Sorry, it's gone.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is that now you can just content for Flotilla.
Yeah, so he came out before Flotilla.
Yeah.
So he's okay. Don't ever take him. Unless you need... No, don't take him. No. You just take Vanto.
He's okay, but don't take him.
Your pass activation Flotilla and give yourself whatever comms token you need. Like, just do that.
Yeah.
You can take one of these defensive chokeable officers on your ISD. Oh look, we don't need this guy.
He it's just a spend a command token. So like you could intensify firepower. You can use him. You could spend your token in the ship phase to activate intensify firepower, and then get that same token with Wolf Yularen to use during the attack with whatever you're doing. I don't know if you got Krennic, or no, you can't because you can't have 2 officers. So I don't know. Yeah, he's just been replaced. Yeah,
it's
he's
just
replaced.
the only fleet command ship is the Simoon, right?
Well, you can put the Chimera
Or the
title
Chimera title
on any ISD, so
Okay.
it's possible. I mean,
Yeah, Wolf,
he's usable.
Chimera title.
He's a solid
it's
C
just
tier
fine.
again.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I also have to go.
Okay, well, that does finish everything up, so everybody can say goodbye. That leaves you to say goodbye, Reuben. And we
Chris,
will talk to you guys next week, or 2 weeks.
Wait. Do your announcement, Chris, before I get out of here.
Oh, I'm gonna do my announcement at the end when I'm just doing. Yeah, when I'm just doing solo work with folks. So,
thank you for sticking with us. Another good episode. Remember, choke your Imperial officers. That's how they're good.
Take care.
Night, everybody.
So, with that, I will say it's been a fun show. It kind of like sped up there at the end. It has been a longer than normal show, so I appreciate you guys sticking around to the end. What I wanted to tell you at the end of the show is you definitely want to get onto Facebook and on Discord because we are getting ready to run a contest. We are preparing to rename Thursday Night Armada. Main reason why we're renaming it, while we actually play the games on Thursday and you can watch them live on the stream on Thursday, we are not getting them up onto YouTube on Thursday, and there's no telling when they get up there, so it kind of confuses. We got the bigger audience on YouTube, so we want to make sure that we kind of appeal to that side of things. So we're looking for a new name for Thursday Night Armada. That being said, if you have a name, you can. I'm going to have a contest page and a contest post on Facebook that you can go ahead and submit your names there. The winner will actually receive a set of range rulers from Admiral Tater's Ship Shop. It's a nice design tray. It's going to have a lid on it. It's going to be 13th Fleet stuff, so cool stuff to have. I'll have some pictures posted of it later. We will have this contest going through until the end of March. So right after we do everything on Adepticon, then you will find out what we are renaming Thursday Night Armada. So hope you will actually sign on to Discord, sign on to Facebook, let us know what you think, and good luck on that. With that, I will say good evening, and I hope you have a great day.